Welcome to an all-new episode of Work in Progress with John Lane and Will Barfield. This podcast explores leadership traits under stress with a special guest each week. We use a simple and accurate OAD assessment to identify key personality traits or superpowers, as well as the shadow side, kryptonite traits that appear when we're under stress. As always, we'll have some pod banter, shameless plugging, and we'll even let our guests talk for a bit. Of course, no humble brags. Welcome to the show. Hello, everybody. I'm working on my
I like
my
that with
goal.
the drone.
Yeah. I'm working on that. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new edition of Work in Progress with John Lane and Will Barfield. This is episode 68.
Ooh,
I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to the next episode.
I can't imagine why. There's
Anyone
no
get the joke?
jokes associated with that at all.
None at all. None at all. A little banter to get us started, Will. I just thought we
Please.
should add that.
Please.
Okay. I won't tell you how old I am, but I'm not a young person. And I'm combining two banters. Earlier this week, which would have been the week of May 20th, I guess, I graduated from Leadership Triangle Transformational Leadership Spring Cohort 24. The graduation was on Tuesday. We were getting a lot of pictures taken.
I saw those.
Guess who got a prom pimple? Me.
That is hilarious.
And I have to point it out because I've been on a couple of Zooms this morning, and I'm like, it's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Like it cannot be hidden. So I combined two banters, but yeah, that's vulnerable leadership for you.
When was the last time you had a pimple?
Oh God, I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like one that's an actual breakout. Like it's crazy.
Don, I've got a guy for you. I'll send you his name after the call.
I figured you had a guy.
Great esthetician.
I'm looking forward to that.
Facial time, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I guess my skin is a work in progress. So I'm John Lane.
I am Will Barfield.
We are a work in progress,
John.
Skin included. We have a special guest, Will. How do we know that she's special?
Because the slide says so.
And what do we know about slides?
Slides don't lie.
They do not. Welcome, Molly.
Even if there's falsity on them. If it's on the slide, it's true.
100%. If it's on the slide, it's true. So we're going to give Molly the benefit of the doubt for whatever's on her slides to say that they're true. Molly Glassgow Travel, what a coincidence, right? I mean, your name and your job being the same. How'd you pull that off?
Yeah, I know. Look, I somewhat regret the name choice.
Why?
However, when I launched the business, it's like your relationships are your brand. And anyways, now here we have it. I've got a website and clients and everything, and we're stuck with it, right? Just like my name.
Let's say you own it. I wouldn't say you're stuck with it.
It's great. No, it's good. It's good. So yeah, I'm Molly Glassgow, and I'm excited to be here today. About a year ago, I've known Will for a long time, and we've done a lot of work together. But about a year ago, I left a long-standing career in commercial real estate and launched my own luxury travel business. So I'm a year in, and it's been a great time to do this assessment with you guys because it's really informative. As I think about the growth trajectory of my business and next steps, and when I hire, what gaps do I need to fill? So I'm excited to dive in. This is going to be fun.
Love it.
And I will say, Molly, that's the advice I got when we launched this business 8 years ago was, put your name on it. People know you. They want to work with you because of who you are. So, that you make some choices when you attach the name to it as it relates to exitability of the business long-term and some of that stuff. But in terms of brand value, when they come to you because of who you are, putting a name on it was the move we made, and it's paid off, and I know it will for you.
So you're saying that Molly should have Barfield Revenue Consulting Travel? Is that your suggestion?
It's exactly what I'm suggesting, and I want that. I'll split the profits really fairly, 99% to me.
That is out there with that's some of the worst advice I've heard you give, Will, and I've heard you with some clunkers. So we could sit here all day ragging on your advice, and that could be
Why
fun,
not?
but that's not going to pay the podcast piper. So, Will, what do we like to talk about on this slide?
Leadership traits under stress, which is what we are analyzing here.
That is exactly right. And we get those, where did my pointer go? There it goes. We get those leadership traits from the OAD assessment. Now, Will and I, if you know us, did a careful consideration when selecting our personality assessment, and we selected OAD. Why, Will?
Highly accurate and easy to administer, and Molly can attest to the speed of it, I'm sure.
Yep.
She probably thought it was going to take a lot longer than it did.
Yeah.
It eliminates social desirability distortions because you're not doing multiple choice or greater than, less than, and it's built to the standards of leading international psychological institutions and rating agencies like those logos that are all along the bottom there, which tells you you can trust the data. It's scientifically validated.
Valid. So it's interesting. I was sort of trading assessments with a guy I got with that Shelley put me in touch with. Very nice guy. I won't say his name, but I went through his assessment and it was very accurate, but I could tell what the answers would be because I know myself well from all this. And when I was on this slide, I was kind of gently rubbing it in that we are scientifically valid, and I knew that he couldn't say that about his. So it was kind of mano a mano. We were throwing down. Yeah, it was good.
And you won?
In my head, I won.
Oh, this is a new slide. I like this. You changed the
Yeah. So new slides. We're working through all of that junk. But when we start this process, we talk about the OAD leadership style matrix. We talk about generalists versus specialists, social oriented versus technically oriented. We don't go any deeper. We could. But I am a socially oriented generalist in the builder quadrant. I am a negotiator. Our friend Will is a
technically oriented generalist. I'm in the architect quadrant, and I'm a developer.
And guess what, Will?
Molly is
another builder.
Stunning. Yeah, can't believe it.
She absolutely is. I knew that when I first met her, but so we're gonna go through what that means for Molly. So let us dig in. So Molly is Molly. Can we call you Mols? Is that okay, Mols?
My family calls me that, or my mom did growing up. So now we're family.
Good, Mols.
That's right. Once you do the assessment, your family. It's instant.
That's right. Actually, funny story. Everyone who takes the assessment, once they've done it, we call them Mols. It's just by chance that yours is close to your name, right, Mols? I mean, Will.
Yes.
Thank
well
you.
played.
Thank you.
Good, John.
All right.
You're on
so
top of it.
Before I
How
go
many
in,
cups of coffee?
Was that buddy?
How many cups of coffee?
Too many. Oh, I had 5 mint iced teas at the City Club at lunch today, and I'm amping and other stuff.
Those were mint iced teas, not mint juleps, correct?
Correct.
You weren't having a madman lunch.
They told me they were not one and the same. So, Will, I think you have a question. I think mint juleps taste horrible. I think you break them out for the horse race,
Derby.
because you're making bad choices. But the Kentucky Derby, yeah. So ask Molly her question. Let's try to engage Molly a little bit.
Molly, yes, we will. Sorry, Molly. How does it feel, Molly, to be reduced to a 2-dimensional data table?
I'm Mols too, so I'm more than just one dimension.
Oh,
so we're good.
Nice.
Well, play. You see how fast that happened, John? That WIP?
Quick. She is quick. Well, let's give her the breakdown. So she is a socially oriented generalist in the builder quadrant, and she is a negotiator. Who's got 2 thumbs and is also a negotiator? Will.
That guy,
exactly. But she's a different negotiator than me. She is very high extroversion and detail orientation, not detail orientation. See, that's my lack of detail orientation and extroversion. But then her subordinate traits are patience and detail orientation. Molly is an impatient person. She's comfortable with change. She wants everything yesterday, if not sooner. She also is happy to delegate because she is a very strong generalist because of her A and D relationship. So she's venturesome. She might start her own company. She's flexible. She's independent. She tends to care more that work gets done than how work gets done. And we see that in her high A and E, lower P, and lower D. So Molly, I remember when we went through this, you were nodding your head along with the readout. So, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I agree with most of it. I think one component that's not reflected is I'm very type A and kind of hyperachiever mindset. And so there's a perfectionism component that can be strength and weakness, right? And we can talk about that later. And so that trips me up a little bit because with delegation over the years, it's taken me time to learn to let things go because things don't have to be perfect, right? And so I don't know what your thoughts are, but overall, I think it's very accurate. I think that one piece, the more I think about it, I don't know how you see that fitting into this.
Well, this is definitely not a perfectionist. This is not a perfectionist profile. I'll say something broad and something specific. The broad is that we don't aim to be a dartboard hitting a specific zone and saying, you are that person. What we aim for is helping a person add some self awareness and then also have a common framework in language to talk to other people they work with. So we typically use this in a business setting. So for somebody to know that you're a builder and a pretty serious generalist and highly extroverted is enough for them to sort of meet you where they are, where you are when they're talking with them.
Yeah. And from those components, like spot on.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like those are the areas I thrive. I'm extremely impatient. I've always been that way. It's something that I have to manage myself. So 100%. And then the detail piece is just for me, it's more of an energy suck. Like I don't love it and enjoy it.
That's exactly right. And that's where the delegation comes in. So, and then just to your other comment, just to clear it up, we don't work with the term, the terms type A, and we do use the word perfectionist, but it's in a different sense. So I don't really have a comment on that. I will say though that high A, high E is a high achiever type of mentality. And so it's the achievement side that may be driving what you're calling perfectionism, as opposed to in our world, perfectionists tend to have very low A and then they go down this way and their D is much higher. But that's a terminology issue. So I would ask yourself to think about the high A, high E as your so-called perfection driver. And a lot of that is people pleasing and recognition pleasing. You want to be recognized for the work that you're doing. So it's a little bit of a different take.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Quick question, John.
Yeah.
With her point about that, and when you look at this profile, this is an ask of you because you're better at reading these than me. She admitted not enjoying the details, but she also talked about the perfectionism piece, which to her, tied into the delegation. My guess would be that if it really matters to her,
a little bit,
that she will be more detail oriented than is her natural state because she wants it done right. But if she can delegate or be looser with the details, or it's not as much of a priority, she probably can pass that along.
Yeah, that is what the assessment would suggest. Yeah, for sure. And then if this little A, if the D went back even one, then this would be more of a pathfinder profile, which is has a little bit more detail orientation. Anyway, if there's anyone on the pod who is still listening, we may have lost them, so we will continue. So
my
Will, why
mom
don't you
is not
take
going
over?
to leave just because of that.
Will?
So, Molly, we're on this builder negotiator slide. anyone who lands in the builder negotiator quadrant is going to get some readouts, and then these are, kind of customized for you. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it because we want to get into your comments on the next set of slides. But is there one here on the superpowers side that really speaks to you? That it came out of the OAD results as it did a read on you, something that you feel about yourself or that others have pointed out to you that's a feature of your personality.
Yeah, I think they're all absolutely relevant, and the top two kind of go hand in hand together. I think the third one, that thrives under pressure, enjoys a challenge, like 100% me. If I'm busy, I perform well. If I'm not busy, like it just doesn't. Ugh, I just don't like it, right? Like I feel
Yeah.
like I lose motivation. Like I like to have that pressure, but it's something that because I like it so much, I kind of push myself and like to push myself. And so, we'll get into it when we talk about kryptonites, but it's one that certainly can
Yeah.
trip me up and kind of push me out of kilter and makes it harder to manage balance, whatever balance is these days, right?
So Molly, my best grades in college were when I had 2 jobs, a full class load, and 2 shows a week on the radio station. I only had little bits of time to do stuff and massive deadline, and I knocked it out. And those are my best. I bet you've got similar situation. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, last year of MBA school, I was working for the university because I had a assistantship scholarship type program, planning a wedding. I also worked 20 hours I was in the pharmaceutical industry, worked for was Quintiles at the time. So yeah, I mean, it was madness, and I loved it.
And you probably
but
did very well at it. Yeah.
it was madness. I mean, didn't sleep enough.
All right, so dealing with that madness and pressure and stress, right? So we're analyzing here. Superpowers become kryptonite. Which one of these really stands out to you, or do you want to spend a little bit of time on?
I would say the attention to detail piece we talked about is like I can do it, I just don't enjoy it, and like that is the first thing when I hire. It's some of the execution, like I want somebody to help with, and then I review it at the end, right? But 100%. Resistance to structured environments, real quick. There's a reason that I started my own business. It was always a dream of mine. I love the chaos, and impatience drives me to make lots of decisions, like changing my career path, right? So I think they're all spot on.
Love it.
So as a part of your work to get ready for the pod today, you looked at your results, had some exchanges with John, and you commented in detail here on this slide and the next one. Get into these superpowers and for us and why you decided to write down what you did here.
Yep. When we talked about the superpowers in the first 2 points on the last slide, I mean, those are in a nutshell why I performed well in sales. Like I love working with people. I love understanding what makes people tick, delivering on expectations and exceeding expectations really drives me. And so that led me to have a successful career in commercial real estate. And I'm, because I like a new challenge, I'm kind of the person that's like, okay, I've done what I set out to accomplish. Now what's next? Which becomes a little bit of a kryptonite, and we'll talk about that. But from that, I built a lot of great relationships that I still have today, and so they transferred into my new business. So, I mean, certainly those are my strengths, and I continue to use those in my new path, which is exciting. And I love the thrill of a new adventure, which is what I'm on today. So I think, they're all great strengths, but again, certain things trip me up along the way, like everybody, and learning how to navigate and complement my own skill sets with the other people I collaborate with has been a lesson for me. I think when I was younger, my heart, because I like busy, chaotic environment, it didn't always jive well with teams, and so I had to learn how to work within the preferences of other teammates. And that's been a fun learning experience.
Love that.
Yeah, I'm going to pull some things from this slide into the next one.
Yeah, do that.
I'm gonna ask. But kryptonite wise, why did you put down the thoughts that you did here? Walk us through these, and I got a question or two I'm going to ask you.
Yeah, I love it. I love the big picture. Like, totally agree. I like thinking the strategy. I like thinking what's next. And then to tie that into what I'm doing today in my new business, like, love working with people. But with that, on the flip side, like, the monotony of processes and systems and building those for my business, like, man, they suck me dry of energy. Like, I just had a call with a consultant today to kind of help me with some of that stuff because I just don't enjoy it. And if it's left for me to do it, I'm not going to do it. And I know I need to do it, track certain pieces of data, like stuff that just I know I need to do. And it's so important, the data piece. And anyways, so yeah,
yep. I share that with you.
It's not my favorite. So I'm excited that I've got somebody that I think is going to help me put some systems in place that I know I need. Because if you leave it to me to do it, like, it's going to be back burner. I'm going to take the new client. I'm going to do all these other things first. So the first, when I hire, it's going to be a person that really likes processes and systems. Like, I know that loves to create. I can work within organization, but I'm not the one that wants to create all of the organization. So,
Molly, when you're ready to do that, call me, because we have a little module for hiring executive assistant, chief of staff, whatever that second hire is in a.
Yeah, I will.
I'll walk you
absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll hold you to it. I'll do it. And then impatience, I can sometimes get bored. Like, when I've set out to do what I've done, what I set out to do, like, I'm like, okay, what's next? Which is good. And sometimes it could not be so good. So it's, yeah. And then a main thing, so that kind of drive that I have, I mean, it leads me to burn myself out, because I will work my butt off to do something for a client at the expense of my own well-being. And that's something that I've been working on, and a journey I think that we're all on. But particularly I've been working on the past couple of years on how to create some sort of boundary around my work so that I'm not working crazy hours and not sleeping, which is what I have done to myself in plenty of occasions.
No, I'm going to jump in there on that, and I'm going to pull the last slide into this slide. You and I met when you were with JLL, Jones Lane and
Yep.
Certainly one of the most well-known commercial real estate companies on the globe. You were a top performer there as a salesperson. You were, what you have to be when you're a local B2B rep, right? You're everywhere. All the networking meetings, all the fundraising stuff. And then, you're competing with other reps, not only at your own company, but at all the other, real estate businesses in town, trying to be the best. And you worked, and then you had to take some time. Like, you tried yourself, took some time to reflect, and then ended up making the decision to start this business. Yep. I worked for somebody else for 19 years before starting my own company. Didn't really know I wanted to do that. The life presents opportunities, it opens little windows, and you jump through them. John did, you did, I did. That's why we're here.
Yep.
But controlling that compulsion when you're working for somebody else, and controlling that compulsion when it's your business, it's different. And you're just starting to figure that out here at a year in. Is, oh wow, like, there's no limit, there's no governor on the speedometer here. Like, I can turn the volume all the way up if I want to, and I've done that in this business. And it doesn't just impact you, it impacts the other people that are intimately tied to you in your life, your family, right?
Yeah.
Spouse, kids. So I'm sure that's one of the things you're working on. But how do you make sure that, from a kryptonite standpoint, that your compulsion to overachieve, doesn't A, fry you faster than it did in the last job, and B, start to impact the other important people in your life? I'm sure you're asking yourself that question right now, but that's a high risk for someone with your profile.
I'm sorry, was that a question?
Yes, it was. It was long.
Oh my God. I was a cutout. I went and got a cup of coffee and came back.
If I'm not answering the right question, let me know, Will, but I'm going to attempt to start that. I mean, totally agree. It's, and again, like I'm loved my time in the commercial real estate industry and learned so much. Excited to shift gears and do something that I'm really passionate about and that I really enjoy as well in a different way. And it's different times, right? Like when I started that, I didn't have a family. I didn't have kids. Now I have a almost 4 and almost 7-year-old. And so, I'm trying to go into this business with a fresh perspective too, of like life is different now.
Yeah.
And I reconnected. I have a coach that I worked with, and reconnected with her this week as well, just on those factors of, hey, I have these personal tendencies. Like I need to continue to revisit how I'm addressing them because they're there no matter what I do. My husband jokes. He's like, Molly, if you won the lottery, you would spin up a foundation so fast, and then you'd be like in full throttle of how do I do this, this, and this, and ultimately stress yourself out because you have to just jump right into it. He's like, you would get stressed out by literally winning the lottery because you figure out a way to do it. And in some regards, he's right, and then in other regards, I like to think that I'm learning and growing along the way. But
that's a great answer, and at least A, you recognize it, and B, you can have that dialogue with him.
Yeah, we have a lot of dialogue on that. So.
Well, you brought up at the beginning of the show how you were looking forward to talking through this. You thought that the exercise was well timed as it relates to you being a year into the business. You're having conversations with coaches and other people, and you're analyzing things. How do you analyze what you've been through and talking to John, the pre-show work, and then this podcast today, and take what you've learned from this experience with work in progress and OAD and apply it? How do you use what you've learned?
Yeah, I think a lot of this is as I think forward in my business and other people that will complement the growth of my business, it's making sure that I'm filling those gaps really smartly. The other thing is I'm constantly trying to like reassess my to-do list and my day to make sure I'm prioritizing the right things. And that includes not just my work, but also how I want that to fit into my life goals. And so I'm spending a lot of time thinking about that.
It's great. Well, we hope that this was helpful for you. You've been a great participant in this. I really enjoyed doing the readout with you, and of course the pod is great. But we come to the time in the show when you may pass the torch, and we always appreciate when one guest gives us another guest. Is there somebody you'd like to let's call it nominate? And we know there is because we talked about this in the green room.
Yeah, I'd love to. I've even gotten her approval. So, and Will, I think you've done a podcast with her. I'd love to nominate Shannon Ross.
Oh, yeah.
A great participant. She's a really forward-thinking HR executive that I think would be.
Love that.
Fabulous. Yeah, she's great. Yeah.
Yeah, that is awesome. So thank you for that. I'll follow up with you after. Maybe you'll make a nice introduction, and then we'll take it from there. And Miles, I can't believe it, Miles.
We're family now.
We are family now. We're OAD family. Thank you.
Yes.
We really appreciate it when you agreed to come on the pod. I knew it would be great. Thank you for that. I'm John Lane.
I'm Will Barfield.
Say it with us, Molly. We are a work in progress.
Work in progress.
Yes. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Great show.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Bye. Work in Progress is a podcast presentation of Slipshod Productions. Available on LinkedIn and YouTube. executive produced and starring John Lane and Will Barfield. Talent booking, production, and editing by John Lane. Thanks for watching. See you next week.